Going. All right, so we're trying this again. I'm going to do a quick review. I say that absurdly because it may or may not be quick. And this is between spelling. Let's make sure. Oh, good. I got it muted. All right. So this is a review between Spelling Plus and Spelling Dictation. I've had a few questions come up from previous videos about Spelling Power, which I did a review a while back. And I will put them in the link below. So let me give a minute for the things that are starting up. Going back. Okay. So I just tried to do a live video on this a couple seconds ago, but for some reason, none of the volume was coming through. So hopefully we have that fixed now. I haven't been getting videos out. I've been having a hard time with the camera, so I'm just trying to go live, 7:45 on a Saturday. If anybody shows up, it'll be good. All right, so this is a review over Spelling Plus and Spelling Dictation. Previously, I had done a review on Spelling Power. I'm going, after the show, I will stick the link to that video down below for Spelling Power and why I did the change. I'm going to compare it also to Spelling Workout and why we're using Spelling Power and how we're using Spelling Power, and also back to like my minimalist spelling curriculum style that I did a video back. Oh, look, I'm getting all kinds of that I did a while back before then. The joys of life. So let's hope none of the kids jump in. Okay, so I already gave Spelling Power off and I ran it through. If you go back and check out the video on Spelling Power is this mammoth book with all these different methods and probably thousands. I could be exaggerating, but it feels like thousands of spelling words. And they have them down to these little lists, and it's numerous. And the idea is it's just very basic. Copy the work. They have all these little spelling games. I can't even get into it. I'm ADHD. My kids are ADHD, and it gets overly consuming. So this year we went with Spelling Plus. I say we're going to stick with this from here on out, but who knows? I hope so, but who knows? So we went and actually purchased this one alone. I didn't purchase this one till later because we're doing classical conversations, and this is one of their recommended spelling books. And I've got it, and I'm going to just kind of briefly show you before I show you in detail what, it's just spelling list and rules. There's nothing else. There's no workbook. It's spelling list again, just more spelling list. And I got really overconsumed with it. And I've done a review in the past, I believe, for Spelling Workout. I'll try to link all these videos I've done in the years gone by down below. I did Spelling Workout, and what gives me a lot of comfort to Spelling Workout is it's just next page. So, here you're working on these basic syllable sounds. You have vocabulary to them. You have a worksheet, and it's 4 pages. So you literally can be first page. You can do this in 3 days, 5 days. It works out to be a perfect 5-day week. Oh, hey, good. Katie Bug, you made it back. And Tracy's here. All right. So like Spelling Workout works really good because you have 4 pages here. It introduces you to essentially the spelling rule is here. I know I can't show it very well thanks to a live feed, but here's the spelling rule. Here's the spelling list. I do like that they put theirs in cursive. And then they give you like vocabulary development. So you have your first page that introduces it. And, you get spelling practice. You get a word search. So you would do 1 a day. And then in the back typically has like writing topics. Yeah. So like writing topics, very writing oriented. Great book. I'm not gonna lie, it's a good book. I like these. These are like my backup plan all the time. And I just kind of ask them to do. One of the problems that I run into is it becomes another obstacle. And it works out really good if you're a modern education approach where it's like do the page and then you're done. This works out fine. One of the things I've realized I've wrestled with over the last years is my heart goes to a classical education mentality. My brain cannot figure out how to use it. So while I was still in kind of modern education mode, which is, textbooks, worksheets, this worked out fine. But what I run into is that, you have days you don't get it done. So then you constantly have this feeling of being behind. And I really want to get rid of that feeling of being behind. All right, so there it is. That. And you can get them all the different levels. It's not bad. It's really a great little workbook. But keeping my kids in them, then checking their work was a little bit consuming. So I spent some more time as I'm really understanding the classical education approach. I have to say, listening to the podcast by Lee Bortons and Classical Conversations, whether you do it or not, whether you want to adhere to classical conversations or you're just interested in classical education approach, they're fantastic podcasts to listen to. I went ahead and went back to here. Now it's I had it bound, whatever, spiral bound. It came like this. It was just very difficult to keep it open. And I was photocopying some of the pages for my kids. I haven't done the master books curriculum. I'm trying to be careful, because I, you know me, I would just love to have a curriculum bookstore that I could just do reviews out of all day long. I would just review them all day long. So I went to Office Depot and I had it cut and spiral bound. Anybody that doesn't know, when you join Classical Conversations, they have a corporate discount code with Office Depot that works so nice. And you can go and get the corporate discount. So you get your little card, you go in there, you get your corporate discount. So it didn't cost me but $1 or $2. And I had them do it. So this has 1,000 words. It's 1,000 words. That's it. And it's only 69 spelling lists. And they have different levels. But one of my favorite things, so here's like spelling list 16. You could just photocopy this page. Here's the list. But what I like is here's the rules. So like here for 15, because I can see that, the spelling pattern is long E spelled EE as in deep. And then they give you a full word bank on page 1. They're like full word bank, page 144. But here's 15 words to practice that concept of spelling. And then they'll say, hey, review BE or be, he, me, we, and she from list 10. Make sure students know these words very well to avoid confusion at this new list being taught. So they're not spelling B with BEE because that would be like a bumblebee. And then homophones. No homophones need to be taught at this time. Mention that the following words may be spelled differently depending on meaning. So the difference between sea and the ocean sea. Seam, what seems to me, and the seam of your clothes. Seen and seen, meet and meet, week and week, if desired. And then, and then they have extensions like 1 week, 2 weeks, feel and feels, adding S's if you want to. So this is like list C. What I like to do is I have them tabbed. All right, so this is like when my kids are working on. So I highlight the really important parts in here. And I tell my kids, we're going to read and review this. Here's your spelling list. Okay, classical education style. They write these words 3 times a day. And eventually I quiz them and move them on to the next list. I know that sounds very unstructured, but it really is so helpful for us because we'll get bogged down feeling we're never going to get done with this book. And the realization that this is a book we just use for the next coming years. There you go. So I tested my daughter, my oldest daughter. Now I can tell you I've never consistently did any spelling work with her consistently. I mean, here and there a little bit, nothing consistent. And in fact, I was getting mom shamed, like homeschool mom shamed, because my kid couldn't spell. And, I got like she homeschools and her kid doesn't spell. Why doesn't she do, and whatever. I'm like, we'll get there when we get there. It just wasn't the time or place. My daughter's also an avid reader. So last year she was still a poor speller. This year, when I went to quiz her and I'm expecting her to be around 4th, 5th grade spelling, she almost tested out of the book. For some reason, her 13, 14-year-old brain clicked with all the words she reads and her spelling just clicked in. No curriculum used. So if you do that approach and you have a heavy reader, and you feel like, well, aren't they supposed to know how to spell because they read so much? Because that's what people say. From my experience, it just shows up later. It will show up. But I have her in there. There's only 69 lists, and she's on 61. So her words are like music, misspell, magazine, lightning, opinion, benefit, different, difference, patient, intelligent, independent, independence, reference, existence, convenience. So it's words ending with ENT, ENC. Is her list. So I just have them write and copy the words 3 times, 3 times, 3 times. And so it might happen that they might only do spelling 2 times a week. We might only get to doing our list 2 times a week. We might get to it 4 times a week. I might get in there and actually quiz them. They might spend a month on the same list of words because we haven't made the time to inspect. And how this works out differently compared to this, because you're like, well, they could keep moving on. What was running into was they're working through the workbook. They were not retaining the concept of why we spell things this way. What are the spelling rules in here, even though they're in here, and they were just moving on. And so we were going through the motions without retaining anything. Now, even though it doesn't seem like we're getting very far, now remember, I got 12 years to get this book done. Not bad. We're not moving on. So even if they think they mastered it, by the time I might actually get to it, they have mastered that list and they've read the reasons why over and over and over. So I picked up this book, so I've had this book and then I reinstituted it back in November because I just realized like they couldn't even find this book. So instead of looking for 4 of these books, I only have this one book. And any piece of paper works. I don't have to worry about like some special notebook. And I love notebooks. I love workbooks. But getting away from that special notebook has been so helpful because it's something else I have to find. And I'm not good at finding, it feels like anything. Then I picked up this one. This is dictation. So this is, what are the words? Carefully, completely, definite, definitely. This one's listen, say, write, check, correct. And this one's very basic. It lines up, essentially after you've completed list 4, here is 20 sentences. And it says capitalize names, capitalize, so this is talking about capitalization, focused on question mark after a question. So they have different little topics they focus on. I do two, and I might repeat the same 2. I might move on to the next 2. It just varies. And they have these great little, they even get into capitalization. There's a lot of stuff in here I have not gotten into. It can go into punctuation, prefixes, grammar, parts of speech. They actually have the spelling list in here without the rules. They have a spelling list. They have a set of homophones, capitalizations, just nice. They have this very check off box feeling, so you can definitely get through it. They even have a form if you wanted to use a form for your dictations. You can use that. We don't use it like that. We just pull the appropriate sentences that match with whatever spelling list they're doing. Right? So in the past, I did like minimized spelling list, being a minimalist curriculum. And I showed you these free books. So this is like 3rd, 4th year, 5th year. And they have little dictations in them and words. All right. So why I like this over this one, I like because everything's in this one book. Again, I'm not losing pieces. I probably could have done a better approach with these little books, and I'll put the link to this video below because I kept moving on. I always feel like, oh, the next day's lessons, when I probably should have had them copy it and then at the end of the week have them attempt to do it from dictation and work on memorizing instead of versus like quizzing them, writing it 10 times if they spelt it wrong. But they're still good little books. I just find this to be a little more user friendly. So tell me what you think on this spelling. What has worked for you? We've used Abeka spellers, ACE spellers. We have used BJU spellers. Um, we've used a lot of spellers, and then we've not used spellers. We've inconsistently used spellers, but this looks very dry, and it's not a bunch of extra work, and it tends to just be what we need, just focusing on keeping it simple. That is the type of schooling I really probably want to work towards, is keeping things as simple as possible. I really like the classical conversation mentality of stick in the sand, and this works really well for stick in the sand. I don't have time. I'm not a classroom teacher. I don't want to be a classroom teacher. I'm a homeschool mom that wants my children to know how to spell, and I don't have the time or desire to make weird fun things that probably does more distracting than actually creating. So those are things I've done. I do want to share a couple things I did. I'm going to turn this into a little haul. I'm new and I'm just trying to figure out where to start. My son will be in 6th grade and has always been in advanced classes. You can work through this and find out what he's missing and fill in the gaps, and then you're done. I like the college. I'm okay. And I've enjoyed classical conversations. He might like that, especially next year. He would be going into challenge. Our block, yeah. And just keep exploring and figure out what kind of homeschool you want to have in your home. What kind of environment your home would fit for the best style of homeschooling. So I would definitely look into um, Simply Charlotte Mason's YouTube channel. She has the 5 flavors of homeschooling. And that is a great way to kind of look at the different styles, because you might be more of a Charlotte Mason style just naturally, and that's what works for you. I like the classical method, and I'm so happy to finally understand how to implement the classical method. All right, so the Sniffy says, our block, well, I don't need every notification on my thing. Our block is the activity spelling book. Have crosswords and unscrambles and write a sentence. My ADHD dysgraphia child can't get past it and doesn't retain it. Copywork is the only thing that has worked for us. And have you gone to donpotter.net? Don Potter, and I'll put a link below, and he talks about how cursive helps correct no, you said dysgraphia, not dyslexia. Yeah, anyway, so he helps with dyslexia about cursive. All right, so I'm going to turn this into a tiny haul before I get off here, because I do want to bring to your notice. So I picked these up at Target. They're the little mini binders. Okay, I've been loving making my own binder, and my ADHD is really benefiting from kind of creating my own binder. And the biggest part is because I just open it up in the middle, and that's where my go-to stash is, not the beginning, not the end. It just keeps my brain working. And so I've been debating about next year's style of planner, and I'm having a hard time because I really kind of just want to buy a big planner, but I know I'm not going to stick to it. So I'm trying to figure out what to do, and I really like the size. I haven't figured out the best planner layout, but the reason I bought it, it was $5.47. It was $2.71. $2.71 for this thing. And it comes with dividers and a pocket. I don't typically go to Target. It's not convenient for us. But I was so thrilled. And it has a ruler. And it's 1.5 inches, so it holds 275 pages. I've not figured out how to make this work as my planner for next year, but I'm trying to come up with ideas. I love the simple plan, but I end up, I don't know. I want to be able to take pages out and put pages in. So I picked up in my store, I was that mom. I picked up every one they had. Everyone. And then they had these mini ones. I got to find out where all my mini ones went. I bought a pile of these mini ones because they were $1.67. I already took the sticker off. I don't know where it's at. It was $1.67, which I thought was awesome. And then, one last stash. And I'll put the link below. Okay. I love these bags. I just bought these off Amazon. Aren't they? I mean, they're zippered lined. They're huge. They're 22 inches wide. They have the big straps, and then the pocket in front. All right, so I have 2 bags. I can't lift the other one up. I think it's too heavy. Ooh. And what it is we use 2 different libraries. And I'm going to take my Cricut and I'm going to put the name of the library. I'm going to put the name of the library on this bag that these books go to, and the name of that library that those books go to, so that I can keep our library books straight. Because, you know, we're a big family. So I needed a really big kind of bag. And I'm trying not to fill them up. I might have to graduate to a 3rd bag. And that one would probably be my avid readers bag that we just keep. Well, probably like the one library we tend to get more books out of. But the other library it's funny, is a low budget library. And because of that, they don't clear their books out as often. And we find a lot of, it's just fun because, I'm going to show you an example. Let me find one of them. Of course, I don't have one here. They're all up at the house. Just really well-loved, well-worn books because they're that popular. And I tend to find with libraries with a bigger budget, they'll constantly turn their circulation, and just tried and true fun books are gone for the new. So we like both, and so we use both. So we've been using those bags. I'll put a link down below later on when I get to it. But anyways, that's my review. Tell me what you think. Share with me. Leave me some comments. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want some other ideas, I plan to really start spending some time and organizing my thoughts to share with you more kind of classical conversation topics and how it all comes together, and just kind of mom help after my first crazy year of this. But here lately, I've made a few videos and I got done and I'm like, all I did was ramble and there was no point to that. So yeah, I don't need to put, you know, I'm like, I don't even care for that video. I'm not going to share it. So anyways, that's what I've got going on. Busy day today. We're getting things ready. Tracy made it. She says, hey, Trish, I have my coffee. So glad to tune in. Well, I'll be out of here. Go ahead and catch the replay. Later on, there should be some little things here in videos you might be interested in. Don't forget to subscribe. I think I'm going to put it right there. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, remember, if I can do it, you can do it. We can do this. All right, I'll talk to you later. Love ya.